Hey folks, all right, you made it to the end of our first module. This was a super module too because we Greece and Rome had a lot of stuff in there. Okay, all right, so by now you should be able to talk about the nature and purpose of dress. You should be able to give me some reasons why people wear what they wear and the purpose of what they wear. So I'm not gonna spill it. Hopefully you took your notes as you were going along. You should be able to talk about the nature and purpose of dress. Y'all should be able to um, talk about some of the origins of dress and origins of textiles. So you have learned about first textiles that were produced at small scale, mass scale, and these early textiles we used for the first several thousand years of us dressing. Okay, you also learned about some of the common themes across dress. Um, you understand why we wear what we wear, right? So that designation of status or the occupation, luxury. Those are some of the common themes across dress. You learned a little bit about the ancient Near East and Egypt, a little bit about China and India, just in that first piece, right? Just in that first piece, okay. And then moving forward to Greece and Rome, you learned about their precursors, right? So you learned about the civilizations that preceded both Greece and Rome and the impact that they had on dress for both of those civilizations. You also learned about the classical Greeks. You looked at some adornments for them, and of course, as always, we looked at a bunch of garments, right? You looked at a bunch of statuary and images too, but you looked at a bunch of garments. And then moving on, finally to the Romans, you got some historical background on where they came from and why they wore what they wore, and we learned about Roman styling. So you learned about the Etruscans. You learned about the historical background of Rome, like how the civilization was set up, and then you learned a lot about styling. And you got to learn about the tunic and the toga. Listen, we are going to talk about the tunic a lot going forward. So that is what you had for this week. Right now, moving forward for next week. So next week again, we're going to be covering two chapters as well. So next week we're going to talk about early Europe and the Renaissance. So I don't want to give you too much in there, but the Renaissance, it's more than one period. Right? We're really moving in really huge chunks. These first few chapters, we're moving in 1,000-year periods. Actually, for the majority of the class, we're using moving in really big chunks, but we're moving in 1,000-year periods. So when we get to next chapter, we'll talk about some of the cross-cultural influences that has happened. We'll talk about the Crusades and some technologies, and we'll identify items of dress by the names that they were known during this period of time. Okay. All right, so you are all set. If you have completed everything, so if you've already done your discussion board, digital critical thinking activity, you are done, and the next module will open on Sunday. All right, see ya.